fill in, that's great. So my name's Brandie Joan, and I run a webisode called The Knowledge Fairy, and it kind of does kind of quirky, fun questions answered in kind of unique ways. I got my BA in theater, and so I've noticed I come to LARPing in kind of a different way, sort of looking at it as an actor. And so I thought this would be kind of an interesting workshop to look at character creation for LARPing in sort of a different way. And something I've noticed is that LARPers, sometimes there seems to be a lot of bleed. And I thought it'd be useful to have some tools coming at it from an acting perspective so you have some more kind of tools for your workshop. So, let me just pull out some of my items. This is also going to be very heavy participation-wise. And would you like to move up? Yes, please, move up. Later we'll probably also, actually you can move up to about here. Maybe about here. Could we also maybe move the front two tables like just to the side?
Sure thing, I get this.
Because we'll be doing themes and stuff. So actually, here and here. Actually, not the two tables, because we're going to move those away. Because we're going to do some acting games later.
Do you want these two as well?
Yeah, let's get rid of those. How about getting on their feet, having fun? Two main things that we're going to cover today will be character creation and listening. Because listening is always really important anytime that you're doing any sort of scene or any sort of interacting with another character. And first I want to do is we're going to go and introduce ourselves and kind of say why you're interested in this workshop. Because I always think it's really important to know the person before the character, which doesn't always happen in LARPs, but it's really useful because that way you know, before you get into a scene with someone, that they're actually the person. So that once the game's over, you're not upset at them for anything they did in-game. Afterward, I mean, has that ever happened to you where either you've been upset for something that someone's done in character, or someone has been upset at you for something that they've done, that you've done in character? Has that ever happened to anyone? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, can I get a volunteer at all? Reward with chocolate? Okay. Can I get your name? Roselle. And Roselle actually does happen to be a friend of mine. And the importance of this I would like to demonstrate. If you know the person first, like, I'm Brandie, and I'm a nice person. I'm a nice person too. Okay, we have something in common. So if you know this up front, then when you're in a scene where you're like, I hate you, and I will stab you in the back, and I will kill your family. Well, same to you. Then you can be like, okay, the scene's over. You can come on in. We're having a really fun workshop on acting.
I just want to hear
Okay.
Thank you.
So then when you're like, okay, scene's over, you can go back to getting Roselle and Brandie. And you can be like, what you did in character was just in character for fun. All right. Let's hear it for Roselle. All right, so you guys know a little basics about who I am, and I'd like to kind of go around workshop. So let's just go around.
My name's Isaac, and this is a new world to me. I've never really experienced it, so I'm really interested in seeing how it functions.
Awesome. Thanks, Isaac.
My name is Lynn. I don't do a whole lot of LARPing, but I've done just role-playing in general. And that's pretty much, I mean, I'm here because I am a really bad actress. And it's easy when you're just role-playing, you're just sitting there and talking, but to actually get up and do the acting live action is something that is different for me.
So you do more of like the tabletop? Okay. Well, there's definitely a lot of similar elements, and I think this is something where we're just going to get up and have fun.
I'm Lee. I've only been doing LARP for like 6 months now, besides this last year. And I'm here because I really hate getting up in front of people and doing that. And whenever they ask me to role play in the LARP, I mean, now I'm terrible at it. So I just want to be more comfortable with it.
Okay, and you guys will have to forgive me because I will say right now I'm terrible at names. Great faces, terrible at names. So, all right, well, thank you.
I'm Michelle, and I've been LARPing for a very long time, and I do find at times when I get a little upset by something in character, that I find it's hard not to get personally upset, and I want to learn some techniques to kind of help it so I don't have to have characters that never get angry at anybody for any reason.
So you find it hard to get characters that don't get angry or do?
I just find that sometimes when my character gets angry, it's hard for me not to get angry too. And that I'd like to minimize, because then the bleed is really hard to stop.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I found a lot with LARPs. And it's especially a problem because it's really interesting for characters to get upset. Because if all the characters go along really well, LARPing would probably be really boring.
And sometimes it's the problem that I would get upset at this too. And it isn't always the case. I mean, I can control it a little better when it's something I wouldn't necessarily get as upset as the character. But sometimes it's something I would be pissed about too. So it's very hard to not
Yeah.
unleash.
One of the things we're going to do later today is do a bunch of like changing the situations really quickly. So that helps with the listening as well as knowing you're in a different situation from outside yourself. Because one of the things that makes LARP so interesting is that you are dealing with a lot of conflict. Someone said to me once that usually in LARP there's 3 different situations. You'll have ordinary characters in extraordinary situations. You'll have extraordinary characters in extraordinary situations. Or extraordinary characters in ordinary situations. And none of those, you guys can come on in. We're doing character creation for
We're
LARP.
actually waiting another game, but thank you very much.
Okay, well, we love your costumes.
Yeah.
So none of those really lead to no conflict. Because if you had a bunch of people just standing around, getting along really well, you really wouldn't have much to LARP around, you know. I mean, that's what we do in normal life, which is good, because otherwise we'd be really angry at each other. But it does make an interesting LARP. But once the LARP's over, you don't want to hold that anger. So, you know, it's really good to know how to have a lot of conflict when you're in LARP, and then how to remember that it's in the LARP and not in your real life. So it's good things to think about.
My name is Michelle, and I write, and so I'm mostly do LARPing, and so it's just part of the, I tend to keep that writer's eye on everything going around me in a LARP instead of actually like getting in the middle of it. And so I just think this will help kind of break down that barrier to be able to see it in a 360 dimensionality.
Great. I think some of these games too will help live in the moment as well.
I'm Tyler, and I'm relatively new to LARPs. I want to make stories, I have a lot of ideas floating around, and if it's not fun, why do it? That's essentially why I joined this thing. If it's not fun, why do it?
Yeah. Especially since we're not getting paid.
No, we're
Wait, we're not
paying.
getting paid?
We're paying to do it.
Paid in chocolate. Paid in chocolate. All right.
My name is Alex. I've been LARPing since 2001, and I missed the prom. What's the prom?
It's what have you interested in being at this workshop? What has you interested in developing character creation?
I wanted to do it, and I want to see what it's about.
Awesome. Great.
He's a werewolf.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You said you're a terrible actor. You
I am a terrible
lied.
I'd say there are no terrible actors, except I've seen enough of them.
I'm terrible at playing werewolf. That is what I'm terrible at.
I run though with LARPs. If you're having fun, it's really the important part. All right, well, you got. Unfortunately, I don't remember your name, but you are welcome to join in if you want.
Sure.
You talking to me or him?
You.
Yeah, I'm Kat, but I'm good.
Okay.
I do appreciate the offer though.
All right. Just don't want you to feel left out. Okay. Let's see. So, let's see. We've done all that. All right. So we're gonna do some warm-up exercises. We're gonna get up. So just to kind of get loose. Yeah, sure. Make a circle. Bubble force. All right, so shake it out. Yeah. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna make a really big face. Ah. A really small. A really big. You can make noise. Ah. A really small. A really big. Ah. Really small. Exactly.
Never done this before.
Selfies on teenage Facebook pages. One more. Okay, and then we have one, and it's called 10, 9, 8. So we go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're getting the hang of it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Out loud. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Then 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. Then 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, here, children. Anyone want some chocolate? Well done. All right. Okay. Now I think everyone is adequately warm.
That's the fun for that cash now commercial.
Yes. Okay. So what do you guys think is the importance of character development? Why is it important to have character?
Because you have to know what motivates you to do whatever it is you're out there doing.
Exactly. So why not just... We also want to watch out. I have terrible aim. Try not to lose an eye today. Everyone on this side of the room was really smart and wore glasses. They all have eye protection.
We sort of sorted ourselves.
Yes,
Characters are the active agents. You have to know what they're doing.
exactly.
That wasn't terrible.
These are just my prescription.
Wouldn't you help with the cohesion? Like if you knew who you were, it would help the other person know who you are.
Oh,
If
very
you
good.
don't know who you are, then they're not going to know who you are, right?
Very good. And so, a lot of times when you're in a LARP, you'll be given a one sheet, and it kind of has some basic details. And so what do you guys do? What do you do after you have that sheet?
Read it.
Read it. That's great.
More
Step
than most
one.
people.
Step one, read it.
And don't read the characters. Have to cut them. They're reading them at the game.
Okay, so we're already ahead of the game. We're reading it.
Yeah.
Now, after that, do you do anything else?
I sometimes maybe underline things if I have a chance.
Okay,
Or
so,
just, note things on where they are in my background.
all right, so read it thoroughly. That's great. Do you do anything else?
Determine if the character has goals, like individual goals.
Determine if the character has goals. That's excellent. And I know sometimes on the sheets that it says if they have goals.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Now if it doesn't say they have goals, do you determine on your own if they have goals?
Way better.
Then you better.
Or else you're going to be standing on high behind this guy.
So determining if they have goals is pretty important. Now, do you fill in the blanks on the character? So you have a sheet, but clearly the whole character's life can't be on one sheet. You're a pretty shallow character. I mean, some people are just that shallow. But, sometimes it's helpful to kind of come up with more depth to the character. So how do you come up with more depth to that character?
That's why I'm here.
Okay, how was this workshop? Excellent answer. Great answer. Come here.
Well, I sometimes, before games, if there's a long time before the game, it's not just a week or two, it's like months in advance. You have time to think about, because you're submitting a character, think about that character, unless it's a character you've just been given. I often have costumes, that I put together, and I think about my character, in the costume, and think about what kind of person are they, what's their background. So I kind of think about it before the game, weeks before the game sometimes. So I have a little bit more, and you also useful to think about what would my character tell other people. You can have a lot of secret things that you wouldn't tell anybody, but you have to also think about LARPs. What would I talk about? What would I tell other people? What sort of information is available for me to talk about at a party or a gathering, or usually that's the conceit, or a battle or whatever. You just think about the setting and think about what sort of things based on who, and just sometimes just feel what feels right is also important too.
Yeah, that's definitely it. And any sort of details about the character, like, for example, if your character, would your character maybe have a limp? And if so, where did that character get the limp? How does that limp feel? Try walking like the character does. How much does it hurt? Does the character try to hide it? Or maybe does your character play it up for sympathy? So I think the more details you have for the character, the richer you can make the character. And there's sort of two ways to go about making a character more realistic. There's sort of kind of a method way, where, let's say your character has, there's something really traumatic about the character's life. And you can either go into something really traumatic in your own life, and that's sort of an easy way to kind of really dig deep. Hey, welcome.
Oh.
Did you want to join the workshop?
Yes.
All right, well, come on over.
You're on the non-glasses
Yes.
side.
Yes.
You're on the non-glasses. Those are good.
All right.
All right.
So this is character development and acting for LARP. So we've all introduced ourselves. You want to say your name and why you're interested in character development?
My name is Aaron, and I actually was more interested in the acting part, more so than the character development. But I still have an interest in both, so.
Okay, fabulous. Well, they're kind of hand in hand, because we're kind of doing both. So what I was saying is that the more details you have for a character, the richer it can be. And so there are two kind of ways to really delve into a character. And if their character has something traumatic that's happened, the two kind of ways to go into it is, one, to go into something very personal and traumatic in your life. And a lot of LARPers will do that, especially in Nordic LARPs where you have these really traumatic, horrible situations. And it's an option, it's a choice. The one thing to consider with that, though, is you can get a lot of bleed. And does everyone know what bleed is?
I think I figured it out.
Okay, bleed is sort of where it bleeds into your real life. And the thing to be cautious with about that is once the LARP is over, you still may be dealing with all of those issues you have and all of those feelings from your real life.
It could be worse than that. If you make a particularly bad choice, you could trigger somebody else in the game.
Exactly. Although you can't necessarily be responsible for how someone else is, what someone else is going to be going through.
There are some common triggers and everyone should know what they are.
this panel's not necessarily going through all of that, but that's definitely something good to keep in mind and be aware of. But this is more like what yourself is going through. So if you're delving into your own personal traumas, it can be very emotionally intense and potentially detrimental for yourself. It's a choice. Some people feel it's cathartic, some people like to do that, and that's a choice. I'm not here to say it's good, right, or wrong, but this workshop is really about sort of the other option, which is, as actors tend to refer to it as the Meisner acting technique, where you develop such rich characters, you're actually going into like your character's life history. So if something traumatic happened in your character, you have such a rich history of your character, that's where you're going to. So if your character has a traumatic history, you know so much about your character that that's where you're going to. You know about this horrible traumatic character history. And so you're going into that, you know all about this character, that you can really embody this character. So what we're going to work on right now is coming up with some character and working on a lot of detail about this character. So what I have for everyone is 100 questions about the character. Not all of these questions will apply. So some of them are like what superpowers you have. If you're not playing a character with superpowers, obviously they don't apply. So these are kind of a general list of questions. So take them as you will. So everyone can take a questionnaire and a pencil, and we'll leave the pencils back. So take one of these and a Dixit card. And on one of these cards, and if you really don't like your card, you can take another. And take one of the characters on the card and decide that's your character. And start developing a character based on the card. Again, if you really don't like any of the characters on the card, you can take another. I'm not going to be like, you must have this character.
For somebody who doesn't know what these cards are?
It really doesn't matter. It's a game called Dixit. The point is that these are some characters. Pick one of them and make that your character. Alright. The point is the illustration.
So I guess I have a question for just from like plot standpoint. It's like, how can you make all these decisions for your character if it might go against what plot is trying to do?
Hold on, just a moment.
Okay.
New card. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, work with it, Lynn.
That's this is. It's about stretching, but you don't need to stretch too far. Okay. Glasses, you're down one. And you guys are welcome to chat. It's really okay if you guys make new cards. This is not like, I'm not like the card emperor, the card dictator. So,
yeah, I mean, I guess that's the issue that I'm having, is that if I make decisions for my character, that somehow it's going to then screw up something that plot is doing, or there's going to be like, no, you can't do that.
I mean, I think it's definitely brings up a good point, and you may need to talk to the GM about certain elements. But I think there's a lot of stuff that don't directly necessarily affect major story elements, but are good for you to know. You know, and some of it may not even come up in the story, but like just you knowing it will help you make the character more real for you. Like not necessarily even coming up with big things. Like you don't necessarily need to be like, I am secretly president of a cult. But just knowing like, okay, I have 5 brothers, and I'm the youngest, and it's maybe more, you know, more rough and tumble person who doesn't take shit lightly. and can deal with being around the boys, and I'm not quite as comfortable being around girls because I haven't grown up with them. I mean, none of that is critical to plot, but it kind of helps how you portray your character.
And all that, a huge benefit to being able to personalities. When you're talking about backstories and stuff, and how they would, like, how you talk about backstories and how you would react to a situation.
No.
When you're not playing from your personal life, it's like, it really helps you know how people in general respond to that type of situation, that specific character. If you have
I think it's just making this character as real as possible. So it's not just this idea, like a vague, a vague, almost caricature of a person. There is a certain separation really, because there is a certain aspect of you're not actually that person, but it's easier to make that leap the more concrete you make this character. Like when you're just like a wizard versus, okay, you're this, like this farmer wizard who's grown up doing much more horticultural magic. So you're not as familiar with sort of the big city politics and much more in tune with stuff on the earth. That way, when you're faced with a question like you've been summoned by the king, you have you much have a much clearer reaction of what your reaction would be as opposed to you've gone to a wizarding academy all of your life and have been primed for a life of politics. You see how that sort of helps you mold what your reaction would be?
Yeah.
So kind of like that. Hi. Are you interested in participating in that acting and character creation workshop?
I am, and I'm worth it.
Oh, no worries. Come on up.
No chocolate.
We give chocolate to everyone. So what we've done is right now what we're working on is creating a character, and we just remember how important it is to really fully flesh out the characters. So yes, because if you have a strong backstory, it helps you to really make a more realistic character.
It informs your decisions that you're making at home.
And the importance of having that tool as opposed to necessarily going into your own personal experiences, especially when it may be something traumatic. So what we're doing right now is we're answering some of those questions. There's 100 basic questions there, not all of them apply to any specific character. And we're taking a Dixit card. You just pick one of the characters. The only point is for the image. Don't worry about the game. And if you really hate that card, you can pick another. Yeah. The whole point is just to have a picture of a person. And don't worry about filling out all of the characters, of course, or all of the questions. And we're just going to work on that for a while.
And I shall list it. Thank you.
Certainly.
I'm going to close this because these ladies are being a little fun.
That works.
That way it's not moved.
There's something here at 3. question that you're on. And don't forget to come up with a name for your character. All right, pencils down. Cards up. Okay, so who would like to, I'd like to go around and share characters. Maybe you could say the name and a couple of the questions or a brief summary of your character. Who would like to share their character? Okay. I'd say we all probably should, since we'll all be coming up and doing stuff with their characters, so.
Eventually. Okay, so I got this. It's a machine that spits out an Easter egg,
Oh, fantastic.
but the Easter egg's cracked. And you can see like equations and math formulas up there. So, my character is actually what comes out of the Easter egg, and this is my bird.
It's beautiful. And what's your character's name?
Easter. But because nobody knows how I was born, they don't know why I'm named Easter, because I just look like a normal person.
And how about you give us 2 key things about your character?
She's intelligent because of all the formulas that go into her, and she's kind of a small, elfish person with just getting from the Easter egg purple eyes.
And what's something you wouldn't usually, someone wouldn't normally know about her?
She came out of an egg. Basically, she has no mother or father.
Excellent. All right, someone else.
All right, I'll go.
All right.
So my card is an interesting, very actually fascinating scene. It's Little Red Riding Hood and the Wolf sitting on a patch of grass in the middle of a snowstorm with a picnic basket. So my character is Montgomery Wolf, which you can call me Monty. And I think the thing that I would want people to know about me is that I'm totally misunderstood. And that all the stories made up about me are just scurrilous fantasies made by people who wanted to sully my name.
And how many brothers do you have?
Well, I came from a small village, so only 4, and 2 sisters.
Awesome. Thank you. And someone else who'd like to share? Giselle, will you share?
All right. Okay. My name is Peter Goldstein. I'm born and trained. I'm kind of old. I was born in 1944. March 15th. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment. This is the picture of my family. And they're very helpful. Because, you know, kids eat rescue and stuff. A lot of kids. I have some grandkids.
How many?
2, a boy and a girl.
And what are their names?
Sally and Bobby.
And how old are they?
Sally is 4 now, and Bobby's 7.
Oh, thank you. All right. Who else would like to share? Yes.
So, this character, her name is Charlotte Ashland. She's a witch, about 250 years old, and she lures people into traps and eats their thoughts with entrancing music, with a big old guitar that she rides like a broomstick.
Awesome. And what does this music sound like?
It sounds very, very calm and tranquil. It makes you feel like you can just go to sleep anywhere, whether you're on a train track or if you're on your bed. It'll make you feel, if you're having a bad day, you know you're no longer having a bad day. Just like this music is legit.
And how does she feel physically?
How does she feel physically?
Well, yeah, 250 years old. Is she,
She feels
ready to go?
She feels fantastic. She's actually quite young looking, you know. She's very sprightly. She's very, very energetic because she's constantly riding on this big old guitar that she has, luring people into her traps, and you know, and the thoughts that she eats, leaving them brain dead, gives her more life, more energy, more charisma, all that stuff. So.
Fantastic. All right, how about you?
So this is my card, and I have a bunch of toys that are lined up kind of going into this top spaceship kind of thing going on here.
Oh, fabulous.
So my character is Ruby the bear, and Ruby is 2 feet tall and about 2 pounds and brown and cuddly. And what people don't realize about Ruby is that she's actually a warrior, and she has spent the last 15 years protecting her girl Megan from all the nightmare creatures. This is her retirement because she has successfully defended the girl until she could reach maturity, and so now she's a proud warrior.
So what's the retirement plan like?
It depends, right? So some warriors get new wards to take care of, and some get retired and they get to spend their life on a favorite bookshelf for the girl. And so my girl, she had to put me, she decided to recycle me. So I'm going back up into the spaceship so I can potentially get a new child.
Awesome.
My card here is showing the different 4 houses, the 2 kings, the jack right there above me, and the queen on top. I am Zerneth, the jack of spades. I don't know much about my family. As you can see, I'm only representative of the spades, and as you can see in the card, I'm trying to take the king's close throne as shown in my evil look. I'm very decisive when it comes to political power, and I essentially have no knowledge of my family.
How come you don't know about your family?
I was alone at the time. My parents weren't there, I had no siblings, and I essentially grew to be a very terrible person.
So I know a lot of terrible people generally justify it, like they don't think they're terrible. So do you think you're a terrible person?
Depends. I mean, it is only business after all. The king of clubs has been out fighting my known relative, the Diamonds, for some time. So if we can break that up, we can resume a normal life. So I guess I'll call myself people.
So it's just a business transaction for you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, who else needs to share?
Apparently I do.
All right.
So, it's kind of a scene from Harry Potter type thing going on. A bunch of youths hanging out in the corner of the middle of the ocean.
Like you do.
Right? Pretty much. So my character's name is Phoenix. He's got a whole bunch of friends, so we all get along.
Which one's your character?
Sure, we can do. So, within our dynamic, there is no real true leader, but we all depend on each other for different attributes. Some are smart and others are more clever. My friends tend to lean on me for emotional strength when things are going crazy or we're losing the sight of our mission, and I kind of get them back on track.
And what is your mission?
We are searching for a lost item that has been lost over the ages, but the world apparently needs.
So what is this item? Why does the world need it?
We haven't been told. We just know.
How are you looking for it if you don't know what it is?
We're searching down clues. We've been getting a couple clues and get a clue each time we go.
How does your family feel about you running off with some friends to go look for a thing they don't know about?
Probably like most families, get into an argument about it. They don't believe that it needs to happen and that I have to be the one to do so. But I have to follow my heart and do what I think is in the best interest of others.
Awesome, thank you. All right.
And,
Huh?
I'm ready to get part of mine too.
All right,
And
please share.
this old man who's feeding either, I want to say a heron or a pelican or a crane or something.
Could be there. Could be great.
Big solitary bird.
You know what? Here's a tip. It's your character. You decide.
He thinks it's a heron.
It's the rule. Does everyone know the rules of yes and?
No.
No? Okay, when you're improving something, it's a rule of thumb to always do yes and with your partner. Or you're creating it yourself even. Whatever they say, it's true. That's the yes and. So if I say, I'm the Queen of Sheba, Brandie goes, yes, and I will worship to you. Because the moment someone says no, the scene dies. So if you say, I'm the Queen of Sheba, and the other person goes, no, you're not, and it's like, So you decide what it is, because it makes everything much more solid and the scene can go forward. So that's your card. You decide. It's a crane, it's a person who has been cursed to be a stork that's covered in tar. You know, whatever it is, you decide, and the more details you give it, the more realistic it can be. So,
With the red sky going on, there's a lot of that bird sort of flying around, and he's comfortable sitting on his bench. He's very patient. In fact, he's a very generous old man. His name is Julian. He used to play saxophone in a blues jazz band, though, and he didn't go by it. Very far.
so is your character the bird or the man?
The man.
Okay.
Man, he enjoys wearing hats, he enjoys wearing somewhat dapper clothing, but he's old, so he likes to be comfortable. And what he likes the most in a party situation or any kind of group is to find sort of younger people who are wayward, rough around the edges. Once he reminded him of himself when he was young. He didn't have a remarkable upbringing, but at some point in his life he lost his wife and his jobs, and to make ends meet, had to grift and con a few people. And now he's trying to get back.
Wonderful. All right, so we just have about 10 minutes left. So I want people to actually be able to bring their characters to life. So what I'm going to do is have 2 people come up here and start a scene. And when I yell freeze, I'm going to have... Exactly. I'm going to tap one person here and call up one other person to replace them. And you will continue the scene, but now with the new person who's up. Does that make sense?
But you're playing as your character?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. All right, any questions? All right, now I want to get started because we only have about 10 minutes left. So, can I get 2 volunteers to start? Everyone's going to be going up very soon, so you might as well start. All right. It depends. If you need it to refer to it, you can. Otherwise, just come on up. All right, and someone else? Otherwise, I will be calling on you. All right, come on up. All right. Can I get an example of a place?
Foyer of a mansion.
The foyer of a mansion.
Okay.
All right, and an object.
A beach ball.
A beach ball. And a relationship.
Old friends.
Old friends. All right. So those are the premises that you guys have.
Yeah, like 12, right?
You know, the thing is too with old friends, it doesn't mean necessarily that you guys have to just be old friends.
Yes.
You could know him because your dad was old friends with him.
Okay.
You know, it's part of the thing. The other thing to keep in mind is don't walk through the table. Does everyone know what it means not to walk through the table? It's part of the thing about listening. So if when you're, you know, doing this scene in LARPing, and you're like, okay, I'm going to set this beach ball on this table. The other person needs to listen and remember there's a table there so they're not like, well, what are you talking about? All right. Okay. And go.
Phoenix, do you know who this beach ball belongs to? I just found it out front, and I don't know who it belongs to. I thought you might be one of your friend's beach balls.
This beach ball actually does belong to my friend Meredith. She's been looking for it for a while because there was a witch who put her brain or her memories in here. So I've been trying to find it so I can give her her thoughts back. So I'm so happy you found it.
You talk just like your father, Phoenix. Always said things I could not understand, but you're a good boy. So give Meredith back her brain.
At least somebody thinks I'm a good boy because my dad didn't look at me like that. So I'm happy that you see me that way.
Well, you've always been a good boy as far as I'm concerned, Phoenix.
Freeze.
Hello, Phoenix, what you got there?
I've got a beach ball with my friend's memories in here. You're not going to take it from me, are you?
No, why would you think so?
I'm not sure. I've heard some stories about you and the people you run with.
Oh, yes, the House of Spades, all because I'm an only child and the one who runs it. Of course.
Well, you guys history of conniving and taking things from people.
And hasn't anyone else been? After all, no, you stole some stuff after all.
Freeze.
Hello.
Hello.
Can I ask why you're holding that?
I am on a mission to get this ball back to Little Red Riding Hood, also known as Meredith, who it belongs to.
So wait, you're telling me that Red Riding Hood was cursed by a witch, and you, the wolf that eats her, wants to give her brain back first?
If I actually was the wolf that ate her, yes, that would seem rather unrealistic, but I didn't eat her, and I'm actually trying to help her so she'll stop telling people that I tried to attack her.
Freeze.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
What's that you got there?
Nothing.
Looks
See,
like a
nothing,
beach ball.
Nothing in each hand.
Trying to hide beach balls from me?
No,
Trying to hide children from me?
I heard that you might know where Little Red Riding Hood is, and I was hoping you might be able to help out and point me in the right direction.
I wish I knew where she was. That would mean more children to feed off of.
Right? And aren't children just the tastiest?
Oh, they are so tasty. They make you so... Hello there.
Don't talk to me.
Don't touch it.
Oh, really?
The last time we met, you know I kicked your butt.
Win some, lose some. As long as someone gets their brains eaten in the end.
No child on my watch will get picked with yours.
Oh, I beg to differ. I see that beach ball in your hands. There's got to be one around here somewhere, right?
Freeze.
But I just want to show you a trick. I'll give it right back.
How can I trust you?
Well, I have lots of wrinkles, and that means that I'm trustworthy.
So is the boogeyman. And the boogeyman is not trustworthy at all.
Well, that's just my evil twin. I may bear a resemblance, and I may wear the same hat, but if I take off the hat, I'm just a smiling old man.
Okay, but be forewarned. If you lie to me, you cannot hide from me.
Well, I can't run very fast anyway.
Freeze.
So, I would love to show you a trick with that beach ball.
I don't know. I'm supposed to return it to somebody.
Oh, I don't want to stop you from returning it, but I want you to be able to return it with panache. Can I show you how?
Trust you.
Well, you've only just met me, and you don't know my name.
I don't.
What's your name? Easter. Fantastic. My name is Bart. Pleased to meet you. Now we know each other. May I borrow the beach ball?
Sure, it's fine. All right, well, give yourselves a round of applause. All right, so we are just about out of time. I want to thank you all for your participation. It was excellent. It was very brave and creative and wonderful. So you are all welcome to keep your character sheets. I do need the cards back. And you are all welcome. I have my business cards up there if you're interested in getting in touch with me or checking out my video site. And help yourselves to as much chocolate as you like. You have all earned it.
Cool.
Oh yeah, and that's a great idea. If you want to take a picture of your card, you're welcome to do that as well.
I grow attached to characters.
I know, right?
Exactly, yeah, right?
Over time.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll